What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Ango Show. It is Monday, September 30th, 2024. It's the last day of the month. And, it's an interesting day. It's going to be a little bit of a lighter episode, I think. Wrestling, it's been so hot all summer, and now things are starting to cool down a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more. Obviously, we're going to talk about SmackDown. We're going to talk about some stuff here and there. We want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. So make sure you guys are utilizing the chat, and it should be really fun. Obviously, WWE is building towards Bad Blood, which I personally am excited to do that prediction show when it comes around. Definitely a lot of big things happening in the world of professional wrestling, but we are hitting a turning point where this is where things tend to slow down a little bit. So we'll see how the rest of today's episode goes. The more engaged that it is, the longer that we stay live. But most importantly, I do want to talk about SmackDown because I thought WWE SmackDown was a great episode. Again, consistently, a consistently good episode. And, I'm super, super excited about this. I see James mentioning Matt Cardona. We will talk about that because, well, quite frankly, there are a ton of rumors about that. So we will talk about that a little bit later in today's show. If you guys want to support the show, the best way to do so is by clicking the like button on the stream. It is a tremendous help to the show. And if you guys want to help the show grow and make even more money and stuff like that, I always invest back into the show. So if you guys want to drop a super chat, that is definitely appreciated. The super chats on here, when you super chat $5 or more, it activates TTS, which means I get kicked off because there will be something that interrupts me on the stream itself. So if you guys are interested in doing that, feel free to do so. Super chats guarantee that your questions and comments get read. We are working on a call-in system. I don't know if that will be ready in time for this week's shows. It's still a work in progress because we're trying to find like a seamless way of doing it. But it is something that is being worked on because eventually I do want people to be able to call in, especially when you look at this time slot, 12 to 1. There is no other pro wrestling call-in show. And I want to really have you guys interact and engage with the show itself. SmackDown continues to push the stories further, which is something I'm super excited about. I feel like if there's one major difference that I've really come to realize between WWE and AEW, and I think I've always kind of pointed this out, but if you look at WWE's television program these days, you're going to have its big moments every so often, but what you're really getting is the continuity within every storyline. And I think WWE is just so much better at letting things breathe. And because of that, it allows me to create anticipation for myself to get excited for the next week. Whereas I think AEW, when you guys watch me talk about AEW shows, it seems like they're just trying to give you that instant gratification. And I think both scenarios could be good for wrestling fans. I think some wrestling fans are impatient. I personally am not impatient. I don't mind watching weekly, trying to, get to the next part of the story. I think that's the way wrestling should be. I don't think there's anything wrong with AEW giving you something instantly. I just think there has to be a way to get you excited about it other than just an announcement of saying, hey, this match is going to happen or whatever it may be. So I really like the fact that WWE continues that trend, not only across NXT and Raw, but also on SmackDown. It's not really the most notable SmackDown, if I'm being honest, but it's a very good SmackDown in the sense that it's continuing to push things forward. And I really want to start off with Andrade, just like a quick thing, because we'll get to the matches and stuff, but just like a really big note that I wanted to mention first was that Andrade is somebody who I feel like is just looking really, really good on SmackDown these days. And I think for a lot of people, we talk a lot about we talk a lot about the mid card on SmackDown being a little bit more weak compared to Raw or NXT, but it's not that the booking is weak. It's not that the wrestlers are weak. I mean, the wrestlers look good. Andrade looks good. I'll talk a little bit about this more in a minute, but Andrade is just really starting to come together as like a very good part of SmackDown. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. I do want to give a shout out to Raging Girl Gamer, who has been a member for 1 month. Shout out to Raging Girl Gamer. Guys, if you want to become a member on the channel, it definitely helps the channel. You get a whole bunch of perks and stuff like that as well. So feel free to do so. Shout out to Raging Girl Gamer. So SmackDown basically comes out, you know, it opens up with a promo. You know how it is, guys. The Bloodline in-ring promos, it's how they start the show. It's how they end the show. You know, this was a little bit of a long promo, but Randy Orton comes out to the ring. Basically, he is like, he is doing the logical thing here. So if you guys watch SmackDown, Randy Orton is basically verbally challenging Cody Rhodes and questioning Cody Rhodes as to why he's teaming up with Roman Reigns, which in the past, WWE under the Vince McMahon era would have never done this, right? Sometimes they throw a lot of that logic out the window. Randy Orton comes to the ring, and he's basically confused. He tells Cody to come out. Cody comes out, and they have like a really good conversation, right? Like Randy Orton comes out, and he's talking to Cody, and it's basically like he's just trying to understand like why Cody would do this, especially considering that Cody Rhodes has been dealing with Roman Reigns and all this bullshit. And you know, the beautiful part of this promo was that Randy Orton is a babyface, but he is kind of teasing a heel turn, and he basically says to Cody, like, this is not a problem. You can team with Roman. It's not a problem unless it becomes one. And I love the fact that he had that in the promo, because with Cody Rhodes, it is inevitable. Cody and Randy Orton will be a massive feud, but you have to give us a couple breadcrumbs before we get there. And we kind of saw it with Randy Orton initially when Cody won the belt. Randy's eyes were on the belt. Randy, you know, basically set his target. And so, again, this is WWE slowly introducing breadcrumbs and breadcrumbs and breadcrumbs. They're laying out the path for you. It's inevitable that Randy Orton will eventually feud with Cody. This was another seed that was planted. Now, what was really interesting here was that we also get Kevin Owens, who comes out. Kevin Owens comes out. We got the Bloodline, and basically Solo Sikoa, I don't know how to explain this, but with Solo Sikoa, a lot of people don't like him as this tribal chief. I think he's doing just fine in this role, but it is really funny that he comes out and he's not happy with you know, Cody and his like alignment with Randy and Owens. He actually logically says Cody, like, these guys basically let down Cody, is essentially what he says. This actually causes Kevin Owens to issue a challenge to do a tag team match. Cody Rhodes tries to interrupt him basically and says, well, there's 3 of us and there's 3 of you. Like, we can do a 6-man match or whatever. Kevin Owens actually shuts up Cody Rhodes. He's like, you got your own tag team match to worry about at Bad Blood. Like, I want this match, me and Randy versus the Bloodline tonight. And again, this was another thing that WWE did really excellent on, because WWE is now teasing Kevin Owens again, turning on Cody Rhodes. Kevin Owens and Randy are clearly not happy with Cody. That's why this title is WWE is turning on Cody Rhodes. The reactions are great. The reactions are really good. The fans love Cody Rhodes. The fans love the original tribal chief. They love Roman Reigns. I mean, you can hear the crowd chants on SmackDown in regards to this segment. But what I truly love here is that Kevin Owens and Randy Orton these are the guys that are taking a beating from the Bloodline. And this is the guy who is now aligning with Roman Reigns. And Cody makes a valid point. Cody says, listen, like, I genuinely believe like this is fine. And I love the fact that Cody Rhodes even says the WWE universe approves of this. You know, he's basically looking for Kevin and Randy to approve. Cody's the perfect babyface in this role, because it's going to actually allow Kevin Owens to really cement that heel turn. And when Kevin Owens finally cements that heel turn, dude, I just feel like we're going to get the Kevin Owens prize fighter, the Triple H NXT Kevin Owens. Like, I feel like they're going to go all the way with Kevin Owens. And I genuinely don't think Kevin Owens will even entertain the possible thought of going to AEW. I know there's a lot of tribalist accounts or a lot of grifting accounts on Twitter that are trying to spread that narrative that Kevin Owens is not happy in WWE. And they typically do this every single time Kevin Owens becomes a free agent. But I do think Kevin Owens in this particular situation is going to shine, because if Kevin Owens does turn on Cody, which I think is inevitable, it's going to be such a great storyline. And it makes a lot of sense for him to turn on Cody. Even though Cody is doing what he thinks is the right thing, Kevin Owens has been bleeding, and he's been bleeding. He's been taking that ass beating from the bloodline, only for Cody Rhodes to say, hey, I value this partnership a little bit more than the partnership I currently have with you. It's a mistake that very good baby faces do, because Cody Rhodes is trying to appease the WWE universe, but at the same time too, he's choosing all the fans and he's choosing himself over Kevin and Randy. It's just become a very, very, very well thought out storyline. So I actually liked the opening segment. The only thing I didn't like about the opening segment was that it was just a little too long, right? We're getting to the point where this segment is taking us to a tag team match that's going to main event or whatever. It was a little too long. It shouldn't really have been that way. I do want to give props to Solo Sikoa, though, because I feel like every week he's getting a little bit more confident on the mic, and the crowd doesn't like Solo Sikoa. So when the crowd is booing him and stuff, Solo Sikoa's gotten pretty good with his mannerisms. He looks like he's frustrated. He looks like he's a little unhappy with the WWE universe. And whether that's intentional or not, I don't know, but it does come across pretty well. The thing is, it's gotten to the point where I'm starting to look at this as like, hey, something massive is going to happen. What is Solo Sikoa's reaction going to be? Because he is doing a good job of being this fake tribal chief, and we still haven't even got to The Rock. We haven't even got to so much more. So that's like so many great things could come out of this. I thought it was a good way to open, just a little bit too long. The next thing that we had was Bayley versus Naomi. Naomi doesn't even get an entrance here, which is kind of appalling to me. But basically, Bayley versus Naomi, #1 contenders match, to find out who's going to compete at Bad Blood. I like this. I like the match. I thought it was a good match. Bayley won clean. The one thing is, like, I don't know WWE's direction for Naomi. Last week I said it too. I was like, I'm happy that Naomi's constantly like in the mix. I'm glad she's constantly on TV. But it does look weird, a little bit weird to me, that they just have her flat out lose clean. And sometimes they just have to, right? It's not a downfall. Phil, I see what you're saying. Naomi's downfall in WWE has to be studied. It's not a downfall. WWE cannot insert her into the storyline for a belt only for her to lose. This is what WWE does naturally very well with. It's all about having a person on TV in a prominent role, and it requires them to lose. The thing is, I don't mind her losing. I don't like the idea of Naomi losing clean, because we don't even know if Naomi will ever turn heel or not. I mean, they're not really planning it, or they're not at least showing us that. But to me, when I see that Naomi is on TV and she loses clean, she doesn't get an entrance, to me, the perception of it is, hey, we don't have plans for her right now, but we'll eventually have plans for her. Whereas I think right now, if they were smart, they would start making plans for her to be an integral part of the story, because she is an integral part of the story. The match was good, but Naomi ends up losing, and I don't really understand, what their future direction is for her. I don't think they've buried her. I don't think burial is the right way to speak here, but it's just something I have noticed where I would say, all these other storylines are giving us breadcrumbs. They're planting seeds. They haven't necessarily done that with Naomi. That's kind of my point. We did get a super chat from Daniel Len for $2. He says, Cody's a terrible babyface champ. I 100% disagree. I think Cody Rhodes is the perfect babyface champion in WWE. Just the other day, it came out on Fanatics. He was the top seller on merchandise for Fanatics. This is not just Cody Rhodes competing against other WWE superstars. I mean, he's competing against other world famous athletes. And the reality is that Cody is selling. So Cody is selling tickets. Cody is a big draw. Cody is a very good babyface champion. But on paper, on actual paper, when it comes to the way he is making decisions as a babyface, I can see that he's kind of a little bit of a dumb babyface, because he has no reason to really trust Roman Reigns. Even though Roman came back as a babyface, it doesn't make sense for him to trust Roman. I would be trusting Kevin Owens or Randy Orton a lot more. And it's weird because it seems like he is choosing to trust Roman. So I find that to be a very interesting scenario. But Daniel, I don't agree. I think Cody is a great babyface champion. I don't think Cody as a babyface champion is an issue. I just think WWE had to resort to the bloodline challenging Cody Rhodes because they don't have any additional heels that can really go after Cody. So it's not that Cody is a terrible champion. It's that WWE did a terrible job of building up a heel that's not part of the bloodline to go up against Cody Rhodes. That's the real issue. Thank you, Daniel, for the super chat. As I said earlier, I was really excited about Andrade. We get Andrade versus Carmelo Hayes. I'm just super excited about this. These guys just, I understand it's rematch after rematch after rematch. These guys do a good job of making every match feel a little bit different. They have some really, really good in-ring chemistry. This was very, very fun to watch. These guys naturally just go out there and have a great match. Now, what was really crazy about this is that Carmelo Hayes actually beats Andrade. LA Knight comes out and has a distraction for Andrade, and that basically allowed Carmelo to roll it up. Now, later on in the show, Carmelo Hayes goes, on a backstage interview or whatever, he says that a win is a win, which is true. And this is where WWE does the perception is reality very well. This is where I give them props, right? Carmelo could lose to Andrade, and Andrade could look very good in the process, and Carmelo could look very good in the process. But it's important that if Carmelo Hayes is going to lose to Andrade, he's going to look good in the process. It's also roles reversed. If Andrade is going to look good all these other times, they got to make him look good even with a loss. They did that with LA Knight getting involved and then Carmelo stealing the win, which, by the way, when you look at it from a character perspective, Carmelo Hayes is perfect for this. He's a cocky piece of shit. So it is a very, very cool thing that they've done. Joseph Donovan in the chat says, I love it. It's very similar to Cesaro and Sheamus. Yeah, there's just certain matches that you just got to keep doing because the chemistry's there, and their storyline, Andrade and Carmelo's storyline, is basically who is the better wrestler. But they figured out to turn who is a better wrestler into a storyline that actually becomes intriguing because you insert LA Knight as the U.S. champion. So I definitely love that. And I personally would have loved to see that these guys get a singles match on a pay-per-view. I don't know if WWE will ever do that, but I think that's because of WWE's way of doing pay-per-views is putting the top stories and the top matches and stuff. However, I will tell you guys, Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, it is no secret, every week I get up here on a Monday and I talk about SmackDown. This is literally becoming one of my favorite parts.
Super chatted $11.17. I would like to see that Cody Rhodes does a heel turn and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa join him to recreate the Bullet Club, but I don't know if WWE could use him in WWE.
Okay.
Adam78 super chatted $5. We know Bloodline will surround Ring after match. Could you see Zilla Fatu debut by coming out to back up Cody and Roman?
Great super chats. So TTS just interrupted me. Seifa Malak says, I would like to see that Cody Rhodes does a heel turn and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa join him to recreate the Bullet Club, but I don't know if WWE can use him in the WWE. Yeah, so I mean, the Bullet Club name will not work in the WWE. That is the reality. Unless they sign something with New Japan, which I can't imagine New Japan allowing that to happen. I don't even know who owns the Bullet Club trademarks, to be honest, but I don't want to see them reuse the Bullet Club thing. Now, let's just have some fun. Let's have some fun here. Let's fantasy book for a second. If Cody Rhodes does turn heel, that would be the biggest shocker here because a lot of people are expecting The Rock and Roman in their feud at WrestleMania, maybe next year, maybe in Las Vegas. Cody Rhodes is such a big baby face. I don't know if WWE will ever turn him heel just for the sake of turning him heel. If they wanted to recreate that magic from the Bullet Club, that is going to be somewhat difficult. I feel like WWE in the past, they tried doing their own version of the NWO, and in comparison, it was a failure compared to WCW's version. So, I don't want to see WWE just recreate something just for the sake of recreating it. However, it would be a very big plot twist if Cody did turn heel, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa joined him. You know, Hikaleo's joining the company. You have Finn Balor in the company. You have the OC in the company. I mean, it would be really insane to think that WWE can recreate it and do something even bigger than before. But I just wouldn't want to get our hopes up. That's our big thing. I think WWE is all in on Cody being a babyface. You never know. You literally never know. Thank you, Seifa, for the super chat. Adam78 dropped a $5 super chat. We know Bloodline will surround Ring after a match. Could you see Zilla Fatu debut by coming out to back up Cody and Roman? So this is actually a really good super chat, and I think maybe this is the best time to just start applying one of the topics here. So let's talk about this. So basically, I'm gonna pull this up. There was this video. It's floating around Twitter. So basically, for those who don't know, this is a video that's floating around Twitter. As you can see, that's Jacob Fatu right there behind Roman Reigns. And it's crazy because nobody caught this. Nobody was talking about this at the time. But Roman Reigns, you know, before, you know, main event with Cody, like, you got Jacob Fatu in his corner. I'm curious. I am curious. Is WWE planning something here? I think there's a very big possibility that Jacob Fatu is actually going to be the one that ends up joining Roman Reigns. I think Jacob Fatu is turning babyface. And to answer your question, Adam, I don't think Zilla Fatu will back up Cody and Roman. I think if there's going to be a major plot twist in the storyline, it is Jacob Fatu aligning with Roman Reigns as a babyface. And there could be a couple of reasons for WWE wanting to do this. I think most importantly, you know, you got to be careful how you book Jacob Fatu because there's a lot of similarities between Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. That's the first thing. But I think you also have to acknowledge the fact that Solo Sikoa, in terms of experience, is a lot less experienced than Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu is a guy that's basically he's been killing it, right? Like, this guy's been killing it for a very, very long time. There was a lot of things that prevented him from getting on TV, but they are going to be often compared to. And so they are both heavy hitters. A lot of people are looking at this. Now, WWE has already planted the seeds, though. A lot of people forgot this. WWE has already planted the seeds for Jacob Fatu to split away from Solo Sikoa. Jacob Fatu had to hand over the tag team championship belt to Tonga Loa. Not only did he do that, but Cody Rhodes challenged Jacob Fatu to a WWE championship match for SmackDown. And then what ended up happening, guys? Jacob Fatu went to stand up and get to that ring to accept the challenge, and Solo Sikoa told him to stand down. So now this video is floating around on Twitter where you see Jacob Fatu being behind Roman Reigns. Maybe there's no significance to that, but guys, WWE and Triple H have made it very, very clear for a long time. You've got to pay attention to the little nuggets. They feed you the little nuggets. And so when we talk about these super chats that we're getting about the Bloodline and Zilla Fatu and Cody and Tama Tonga and this entire Bloodline storyline, there is so many things that they can do. And I think we have all, by the way, done a fantastic job of like speculating and fantasy booking. I think it's actually become really fun to speculate who's going to turn, what's going to happen, how will The Rock get revealed. I think there's been so many cool things here that we as a community have speculated. But I just think one of the coolest parts about this storyline is that we've already seen so many different swerves and plot twists since 2020. It is 2024. And so, I mean, look, we are at a situation where this is getting so good because what inning are we truly in? Paul Heyman hasn't even returned. We don't even know if Paul Heyman is for sure going to be the wise man for Roman Reigns. We have not even seen the fact of, we haven't seen the Usos reunite. We haven't seen Sami Zayn reunite. We just saw Jey Uso win the Intercontinental Championship. So there has been a lot of fun things that have happened, and it's all happening gradually. And like I said, we did not see this. We We definitely did not see this. We definitely were not paying attention to this. But Jacob Fatu being right there in the corner for Roman Reigns, walking with him, we knew that Jacob Fatu had signed with the company at that point. But we didn't expect that. No, we don't pay attention to those things, man. We don't pay attention sometimes to those little details. And I think WWE has gotten so good about introducing those little details to the point where those little details have become a very big pivotal moment later on in the future. And that's what WWE does. That's what Triple H's era is all about. Guys, I've said this time and time again. Triple H literally does this all the time. Things that happen off of TV sometimes might even have an impact on things that happen on TV. But there's always these little different nuances, these little different elements that happen. And so I'm going to say this, especially when addressing these super chats, especially going back to Seifa's super chat about, maybe Cody Rhodes turning heel. What I will say is this. We can speculate, we can fantasy book, and it's incredibly fun to do so. I definitely agree with that. Fantasy booking is incredibly fun. But I have a feeling that WWE already knows what they're doing. And I think WWE wants everybody fantasy booking. I think WWE wants everybody reading into Jacob Fatu being with Roman Reigns. I think WWE loves this type of stuff because it creates really high engagement on social media. But I'm going to go as far as saying I think WWE is doing all of this on purpose, and they already have the plot twist planned. And whether it's a good plot twist or a bad plot twist, God knows. But I do think if Jacob Fatu is turning babyface, that could be massive, because Jacob Fatu turning babyface, in my opinion, would only be so that he could get closer to Roman Reigns to eventually feud and turn on Roman Reigns. So let me say that again. I don't think Jacob Fatu will ever be a permanent babyface. But Jacob Fatu, I could see him turning on Solo Sikoa, and I could see him joining Roman Reigns only for him to eventually turn on Roman Reigns. And WWE knows there is a very big marquee match between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu. They are very, very particular in keeping them separated on TV. There's a very big reason for that. WWE is incredibly smart about that. So, in my opinion, I think that's a great thing. If Jacob Fatu turned babyface so he could then align with Roman Reigns and then eventually, dude, this guy is plotting something in his head. We all know this. He is plotting something in his head. He has plans to be his own tribal chief. Now, I don't know what it's going to be like after, but let's talk about this for a second. After The Rock and Roman and the Bloodline versus Bloodline and all this Bloodline stuff comes to conclusion, what do you do with Jacob Fatu? What do you do with Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa? I said this a couple of weeks ago, guys. I said, man, watching Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga, and Jacob Fatu invade NXT 2 weeks ago when they invaded NXT without Solo Sikoa, these guys looked like the biggest threat in professional wrestling. And I would love to see them be a faction. I also think it would be a really cool thing for Jacob Fatu to take the Intercontinental Championship from Jey Uso. I said this in a previous stream. Jey Uso won the IC title. Let him go to SmackDown. Do a trade. Send LA Knight to Raw. And Jey Uso goes to SmackDown. It's a trade. The championship belts trade brands. And then what's actually really cool about that is that Jey Uso will now be forced to align with the Bloodline, with Jimmy and Roman and Cody or whatever it may be. And then Jacob Fatu could go for singles gold. And if you want to keep it all within the Bloodline storyline, it makes sense for him to go after Jey Uso. But, dude, I'm super excited about that. A lot of good things could come from this storyline. Again, we're speculating, we're fantasy booking, but that is the beauty of it. Thank you, gentlemen, for the super chats. We got another super chat from Omer. Omer from Real Take Wrestling, $4.99. Omer, if you dropped a penny more, it would have kicked me off while I was talking. $5 or more, guys, triggers TTS. Don't forget that. Omer says, bro, someone needs to tell WWE to lower these ticket prices for Bad Blood. They are starting at $600. I'm being priced out. Yeah, no, that is real. That's a real thing. These tickets, oh my God. Let's look it up. Hold on. Let's actually look it up. WWE Bad Blood ticket prices. All right, how about just tickets? Let's take a look. Now, granted, there's TickPick and StubHub, and there's like a million other ones, but none of them pay me to promote them, so I'm not screen sharing. I'm not looking any of this stuff up. I'm not doing no promo codes. I just want to see Ticketmaster lowest price is $225 for the nosebleeds. Where the hell did you see $600 to get in, bro? What is that all about? Starting at $600 doesn't seem too realistic, bro. On Ticketmaster right now, it shows $225 as being the cheapest ticket. That's okay. Hold on, that's a verified resale ticket. And for row D, it's $4,500. Holy shit, bro! How is Bad Blood tickets for floor seats where I sat for SummerSlam last year? Bad Blood, oh my god. That is crazy. Tickets are insane, bro. But even for nosebleeds, I'm not going to lie, $225 is crazy. No, I'm not saying, no. Omer, I know what you're saying. You don't sit in nosebleeds, but you're saying to get in. So I meant like the cheapest price was $600. But no, $225 to get in is still kind of expensive, bro. Granted, oh my god, yeah, literally the cheapest that I see. Upper Deck is literally 300 plus. 375. That is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Like, honestly insane to think about. And dude, look, how are ticket prices this high? I mean, to be honest with you guys, I think it's high because WWE's product is hot. And you know damn well people buy tickets to flip them and scalp them. So when people are doing that shit.
Real Take Wrestling super chatted $9.99. Hit that like button, guys.
Omer just wasted $9.99 to tell you guys to hit that like button. But that's actually a good reminder. Guys, if you haven't clicked like on the stream, click like on the stream. Definitely appreciated. Omer, thank you for the super chats, bro. I appreciate you. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you jump on the Ango show live one of these days at 12 p.m. Eastern. It would definitely be appreciated. I miss talking wrestling with you, bro. Yes, those ticket prices are insane. WWE's product is hot. Scalpers are annoying as fuck. We all know this. It's absolutely crazy to see that ticket prices have increased so much, but the good thing is we are literally at a stage where wrestling is hot. Unfortunately, because wrestling is hot, the economy also pretty much sucks these days. The economy is not as great as it was before, so, you know, I'm not advising everybody to spend money to go and spend $200-$300 to go sit in nosebleeds. But what I am saying is wrestling shows are fun, and if you have it in your means to go, you should definitely go. I say the same thing even about AEW. Even if I think AEW's TV product is hit or miss or maybe inconsistent, I just think the experience of going to a wrestling show is so fun. I know I'm going to Bound for Glory next month in October. I know a whole bunch of, you know, there's a lot of good events coming up. I know WWE's coming in December, which I think I would like to go to for a house show. I haven't gone to a house show in like 10 years. So yeah, we're going to see what happens. Shout out to Real Take Wrestling, one of my favorites in the community. Thank you for the super chats, brother. Thank you. Let's get back to SmackDown. I finished off with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. Fun stuff. Guys, Chelsea Green is the funniest person in WWE. She just gets it. Mia Yim versus Piper Niven. Chelsea Green comes out with the trash can to accompany Niven. Not really the longest match. It's not really the best match. But it's just good stuff continuing the story between Mia Yim and Chelsea Green. For some reason, WWE is all in on this garbage dumpster match, which will be taking place, I believe, this upcoming Friday. Yeah, really just funny. stuff, to be honest. But Mia Yim and Chelsea Green is going to be a banger. So I'm super excited about this match. Love seeing that WWE is introducing a gimmick match to a mid-card feud that doesn't involve the title belt. And it just so happens that Chelsea Green's personality is shining here. Mia Yim being given the opportunity to have a big-time feud. And, dude, Phil literally just put it in the chat. He goes, Corey and Cole are so unserious with the story, which is so true. They're so funny with commentary on this stuff. And, dude, like, that's just got to have fun with it, bro. You got to have fun with it. I think WWE commentators for a long time under Vince were just, like, they were screwed, bro. They were screwed. So I really love this a lot, to be honest with you. And I thought this was a good thing, you know. I think for WWE, like, Chelsea Green is somebody who should have been Money in the Bank. Like, I know people are excited about the Tiffany Stratton. I know that they love Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax, and they got their little thing going on. And, like, that's cool, and it's a good storyline, and, like, whatever. But, like, nah, man. Nah. Let them go out there. Let them have fun. Let them wrestle. Let them build stars. But at the same time, too, Chelsea Green is the all-star. She's got the character work. She's a good wrestler. Go all in with Chelsea Green. How do you not go all in with Chelsea Green? That's what I'm saying. You know? That's what I'm saying. And then, yeah, to end SmackDown, we have the Bloodline, Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu defeated Owens and Orton. So, look, you know, basically Cody Rhodes cost his boys the match. Owens was upset. He shoved Cody. Orton plays peacemaker. Orton plays the good guy, trying to set them, you know, and put them together. It's a fun match. We always get the interferences. But again, it's what I was talking about in the beginning of today's episode, which is they're constantly pushing the story forward. Very clear that Kevin Owens is having an issue with Cody. So I'm just a very big fan of that. I'm very excited about that. I like the fact that WWE is pushing that narrative that somebody's going to turn. How are they going to do it? I don't know. But Kevin Owens keeps taking an ass beating because of Cody. You know what would really piss off Kevin Owens, that would really cement the heel turn? If he saw Sami Zayn do the same thing. So, dude, there's a lot of great things. I keep talking about it. I liked it. We do have some more topics to discuss. There is a possible big free agent signing for WWE. And, yeah, we'll be right back after this break.
Sepha Malik super chatted $11.17. How would your reaction be if Andrade came to the ring and issued an open challenge and Pento Oscuro music started for a 20-minute match?
All right, we are back. Sorry, that was a very, very, very important, very, very important call that I had to take. We did get a couple super chats, and Seifa Malak actually dropped another super chat. He says, how would your reaction be if Andrade came to the ring and issued an open challenge and Penta's music started for a 20-minute match? Okay, dude, this would be sick. This would be sick. My reaction, I would pop big time. Penta and Andrade would have a really, really good match. I want to see Penta in the WWE. I want to see Penta in the WWE as a singles guy, and maybe that could be a possibility with Rey Fenix's situation. So who knows, man? Who knows? I listen, this is what I will say. Penta coming to WWE first wouldn't be a bad thing, only for him to reunite with Rey Fenix. You let him do a singles run, you know, especially if we have to wait a year. Let Penta go in there. Let him go for the U.S. title. Let him go for the Intercontinental title. Let him do something, man. Seifa, my reaction, my jaw would drop, to be honest. My jaw would genuinely drop. I would be extremely excited about it. And quite frankly, like, you know, for WWE, if they brought in Penta as a singles guy, he's going to get that big pop. Imagine how much bigger it would be when, you know, eventually it turns into Penta is getting beat down by the Bloodline. God is beating down Penta, and then Rey Fenix randomly makes the save. That reaction would be even bigger. So that would be really cool. What's the likelihood of this happening? I'm going to say like 5%. But would it be really, really cool? Absolutely. I would be extremely excited about it. Yeah, huge, 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 huge. This would be really good. Appreciate the super chat, man. You be dropping super chats all the time. I appreciate your loyalty, and I appreciate the engaging super chats too. Just great questions overall. Thank you so much. We did get a super chat from longtime viewer Justin Kennington. What up, Justin? He dropped a $4.99. He says that triple threat ladder match with
Phil
DIY.
Super chatted $9.99. If I had the pen plus paper, I'd want it this way. RR. Cody versus Rock. Roman costs Rock the title. WM41. Rock versus Roman if Rock doesn't wrestle at Mania. Unlikely. I'd love to see Reigns versus Fatu. Eyes.
Oh, okay. We just got interrupted by a TTS. So let me get to Justin's super chat, and then we'll get to Phil's because these are great. Justin says that triple threat ladder match with DIY, Street Profits, and Bloodline for the tag titles on SmackDown this week will be a banger. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And obviously, look, I don't know if they'll have the Bloodline retain. I don't know what their plan is here, but the fact that it's a triple threat match is a really good thing. I would actually love to see God and the Bloodline be screwed, because WWE tends to keep the belts on the Bloodline for such a long time. I would love for Kevin Owens and Randy Orton to actually screw God here. And DIY should win those titles back. I just think this would be a really good way to book the match. It's really cool that Nick Aldis booked a triple threat ladder match. This is a pay-per-view level match, but they're putting it on television. So very excited about that, Justin. Can't wait to see the match unfold. I'm going to pick DIY as the winners. I think the Bloodline getting screwed would be great. But who knows? Maybe this is where they introduce Hikuleo. Hikuleo maybe grabs the belts for Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, and that's how we get his introduction. That's how we get his debut. That could very well be a big possibility. So I definitely wouldn't be shocked if that were the case. Shout out to Justin for the $4.99. Phil dropped two things. He extended his membership for 3 months. He says, hey, Ango, just want to show support. Keep it up. He follows up with a $9.99 super chat. He says, if I had the pen plus paper, I'd want it this way. Royal Rumble, Cody vs. Rock. Roman costs Rock the title. WrestleMania 41, Rock vs. Roman. If Rock doesn't wrestle at Mania, which is unlikely, I would love to see Reigns vs. Fatu. Now, let's actually say this. I like this. This is a great super chat. This is a great comment. But let's up the ante a little bit. What if Rock vs. Roman doesn't happen at WrestleMania 41 and they save it to WrestleMania 42, which, as we all know, there is tons of speculation that London could be the place for WrestleMania 42. And so if you are the WWE, Vegas is supposed to be the biggest WrestleMania of all time. But, dude, if you're doing WrestleMania in London for the first time ever, you got to deliver a massive, 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 massive match There is a way to extend the storyline up until WrestleMania 42. So what if we did get Reigns versus Fatu at WrestleMania 41, and then The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 42? That, to me, would be massive. That would be the right thing to do. And quite frankly, I would be super geeked with it. I think WWE has enough layers and enough beef to this storyline that this would end up working. And I genuinely believe that, like, if you want to extend the storyline that long, you absolutely can. I look forward to seeing how WWE does it. But I'm just telling you guys, WrestleMania in Wembley, it's going to sell out. You do Rock versus Roman, it's selling out like this. So huge, huge, huge potential for WWE here. Phil, thank you for the super chat. Absolutely love it. Really, really, really good stuff there. I also want to talk a little bit more. This is probably our last topic of today. A lot of people are talking about Matt Cardona's YouTube video, and basically Matt Cardona was reflecting on his 2024 so far, and he's discussing a potential WWE return. There's been a lot of conversation here. There's been some rumors. Slice Wrestling has reported that Matt Cardona is coming back to the WWE. So let's just talk about this. Matt Cardona says it's been a wild year, celebrating 20 years in the business, 20 years since my first match, 4 years since I was fired from WWE. Now I'm just coming back from injury. The doctor said 6 to 8 months. I did it in 4. Time is not on my side. I'm not getting any younger, but I feel like right now I haven't even hit the prime of my career. I feel like my best years are ahead of me. I've done it all on the indies, winning titles, cover of magazines all over the world, and it's been fun, and I needed it. I needed to find myself both as a performer and as a man. I did it all. The time is now to go back. Where do I go? Do I go back to WWE? Do I go to AEW? Just having that taste even earlier this year, wrestling Adam Copeland on AEW Collision, just being out there, jam-packed, real arena, not the Ukrainian Culture Center in LA or the Showboat Hotel in Atlantic City, a real arena, and the crowd responded. Just on my entrance, it made me feel like, okay, everything I've been doing, it's working. So this is very interesting, and he goes on to talk a lot more about this. But I do want to talk about Matt Cardona coming to WWE because it was reported that Matt Cardona was signing with the WWE. Now, the problem is Slice Wrestling, and I don't know who Slice Wrestling is. There have been times on this channel where I have talked about stories that have come from Slice Wrestling. And one of the biggest things that bothered me about Slice Wrestling, and this is not like a personal thing, but there would be stories that Slice reported that actually came to fruition. Now, a year ago, Slice Wrestling reported Matt Cardona joining WWE, and that didn't happen. So it's not the first time I've talked about Matt Cardona joining the WWE again. But I do think that Matt Cardona joining the WWE would be the right move. Not under Zack Ryder, not under any other gimmick other than Matt Cardona. I want to see the Matt Cardona that's been killing it on the indies show up in WWE. That's the version of Matt Cardona that I want to see in the WWE. Now, it's important when talking about this, we got to talk about the current foundation of WWE and where does he stand in the current version of WWE. Because Matt Cardona is somebody who I feel like could come to WWE and be a big part of the WWE. The problem is there is a lot of things happening in the WWE. I don't know if Matt Cardona would instantly get that gratification from coming to the WWE, right? Like how we were talking about it earlier on the stream. Naomi returned. Naomi's a prominent figure on TV, but when it comes to actually having anything massively notable happening in her career since her return, there hasn't been. Is she a prominent figure on television? Yes. Does she wrestle on television? Yes. Is she involved in backstage segments? Yes. But is she winning titles? No. Is she necessarily chasing titles? Not really. So I think Matt Cardona, if he were to enter the WWE at this time frame, just the way everything is currently being positioned, I would go as far as saying that Matt Cardona will kind of just be floating on TV, and I don't want that to happen. However, Matt Cardona is a real-life friend of Cody Rhodes. Matt Cardona is married to Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green, Cody Rhodes, Matt Cardona, and Brandy Rhodes, they are all friends. Is there a way to have Matt Cardona come to the rescue for Cody Rhodes when dealing with the bloodline? Is that a possibility? Because even though he wouldn't be going for championships, at least he would be involved in the biggest storyline in professional wrestling. And that could be something that Cody Rhodes needs, right? Because we are watching SmackDown every week, and Kevin Owens and Randy Orton, they kind of have an issue with Cody Rhodes. So Cody's going to need some real friends to come to his aid at some point. It does make a lot of sense for Matt Cardona to come in, but the only way they could have him come in is by having him come in this particular storyline. I don't want to see Matt Cardona come into WWE and pull a Naomi, where she's just on TV, and she's constantly on TV, and that's cool. I wanted Naomi to come in as a big part of the women's division, and eventually they'll have something planned for her, but I'd rather have them do something immediately that makes Matt Cardona feel like a big deal. Because imagine this. Imagine if Matt Cardona, and this is the reality, Matt Cardona comes in, and the entrance is very smooth, right? The entrance is very simple. It's his old Zack Ryder theme song, and then it cuts off into a remix, and then Matt Cardona comes out. He's going to get that initial pop, and I think people are smart enough to know that Matt Cardona is not Zack Ryder anymore. Can't do the Zack Ryder gimmick in 2024, bro. It ain't happening. Oh, radio, right? Pop, big pop. People would go crazy. But if it does like a little transition sound effect into a new theme song, it's perfect for Matt Cardona. I think it'll go really well. I think if you see it on the Tron, Always Ready, people will love it. And yeah, I mean, I would be super excited about that. Now, with that being said, if Matt Cardona does come back to WWE, I feel like he would be a lot more successful than AEW. I think it's also, this is not a dig towards AEW, but I just don't feel like Matt Cardona will ever do anything in AEW. I feel like if AEW wanted to do something with Matt Cardona, they would have done something with him when they had him go up against Adam Copeland. The reaction was there. People wanted him. But for some reason, it just doesn't look like AEW knew what to do with him. And they had Zack Ryder there. They had Matt Cardona in the beginning when Cody Rhodes was there, and they never did anything with him. So Tony Khan, for some reason, has never done anything to commit to Matt Cardona, and therefore that's why I wouldn't want to see it. It's not like he's never showed up in AEW. He has a couple times, and they've never really figured out a way to do something there. I also don't think there's really a purpose for him to go to AEW because I don't think really AEW needs him. So just kind of throwing that out there. But I do think this conversation is a good one. I think Matt Cardona potentially coming to WWE is a very good thing. I think Matt Cardona coming into WWE is not only a good thing for him, but it seems like that's kind of what he's wanted. I think he wanted to leave WWE, go to the Indies, show that he can do some really big things in the Indies, which he did, by the way, and then have him come to WWE when the time is ready. And I think the time is ready. I think Cody Rhodes is going to have a very hard time picking a fight with the Bloodline when you got Kevin Owens and Randy Orton turning on you. And I think it's also really interesting that Ricky Starks, we don't know his situation with AEW, but he's also a real-time friend of Cody Rhodes. So imagine if you have Cody Starks and Matt Cardona and somebody else together, Sami Zayn, and they're taking on this version of the Bloodline. My point that I'm making is that there's a lot of cool things that you can do here. There's a lot of ways for WWE to go about it, and that's what I do want to see. But who knows what's going to happen, my friends? Who knows what is going to happen? And that's why I am super intrigued by seeing what happens, because long term, this could have some really good effects for WWE, especially when we're talking about WWE potentially expanding the Bloodline storyline up until WrestleMania 42 when we get Roman versus Rock at Wembley Stadium. Yeah, I have a very strong feeling WWE is extending the storyline, so this is another way to do so. You got some more people debuting on the Bloodline. Now you got Cody and maybe Ricky and Matt Cardona. How do you say no to that, bro? How do you say no to that? Crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, what a fantastic stream. You guys have gone off with the super chats, and it's greatly appreciated. You guys have been a very engaging chat. I'm reading the comments. A lot of people believe that what I'm saying about AEW and how they've handled him is true. A lot of people, yeah, this is great. I love it, love it, love it. Guys, we will be back tomorrow. Tonight's episode of Raw is going to be big. It is going to be a very big episode of Raw. Plus, tomorrow we have NXT. We're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about tomorrow. tonight. Last monster standing. Do we get a ring collapse or not? I don't know, but we are getting some really, really good shit. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see it. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to call it a day. Tonight's episode of Raw is the final 3-hour episode of Raw. How do you end it with a banger? 2 monsters destroy the ring. I can't wait to see it. I think it's happening. WWE's teasing it. They are creating stars. Compelling television. We talk about it every day. And guys, it is the last day of the month. October 1st is tomorrow, and we got a very, very big month planned. Very, very big thing planned. Get excited, get excited, get excited. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Ango Show.